Hello there and welcome to the Rugby Hour, your weekly hour of two guys chatting shit about the rugby. I'm Hugh and this is my co-host Kieran.
Hi, I'm Kieran. I'm a Bristol rugby fan. I've been a supporter, I was season ticket holder since very, very young.
Yeah, and I'm a Bar fan, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Probably not the best week to be doing our first episode, but I've been a season ticket holder there since 2016, so for the past 5 years. So basically what this podcast is it's just Kieran and I and hopefully guests.
Oh, many
guests, if they want to be on. We're just going to be talking about really anything rugby. We'll also be drinking a bit.
Yes.
We'll be talking about the games that's happened over the weekend, mainly the Premiership, because that's really our area of expertise.
Our main focus.
We will talk about other leagues if we find a way to get it in there. We'll also be talking about any main talking points that's happened over the past week of rugby.
As you'll find out many times this episode, I'm sure.
Yes, exactly. So hopefully episodes will come out every Wednesday.
Yep. We're going to preview the next weekend, review the last weekend, and just any general stuff around there. So, should we get started with the...
Yeah, well, let's get started. And I think what better way than to talk about last weekend's Premiership action.
Exactly.
So it started off under the lights up in Manchester with Sale Sharks versus Quins ending in a 28-22 win for Sale.
What a cracking game, may I add.
It was
absolute cracker, that.
Kieran and I were in the pub watching it together on Friday night, so maybe we got rid of too many talking points then during the game, but
yeah.
But we're trying. So mainly what I thought from it, Sale just seemed to know how to beat these high-paced fast teams. They did it to Bristol twice last season, done it to Quins this year. They just seem to know how to suffocate them.
Yeah, it makes you think whether if they didn't have Exeter in that semi-final, could they have taken on Bristol or Quins in that final? Just the styles of play.
Well, the way they've gone about in the league against teams like Bristol, like Quins, as we've seen, they just seem to know how to counteract this. It's Sale and their smash and bash, trying to make the game as boring as possible, trying to bring those fast-paced teams into playing their game.
Yeah, I felt on Friday though it wasn't the typical boring game you'd think Sale would try to make it. There was still a lot of good attacking rugby I felt from Sale. They still had their defence as the main area.
I mean, their defence was just so suffocating. And throughout that first half, they were just playing the territory. They just kept Quins in their 22 in their half.
100%, yeah.
I mean, it was a really strong performance from Sale. But to pick up the win.
Marcus Smith. What a quality player he was.
He's something special. I mean, we're not original in saying that, of course.
No.
And of course, he's been rewarded with his England call-up for the Autumn Internationals.
Can't wait to see that.
No, it's going to be really good, and it's fully deserved. And yeah, he is something special, Marcus Smith.
Yeah. Rafi Quirk as well had a really good game for Sale.
Really good game, 2 tries for him.
Yeah, he was... For me, the clear man of the match because
definitely
he was the main spark in that Sale team. He was the one that created all those scoring opportunities. I felt.
And with Faf de Klerk, he's out for the next few months with a hip injury.
I mean, Rafi Quirk's not a bad replacement.
No, exactly.
I mean, Faf de Klerk versus Rafi Quirk is going to be an interesting battle to see.
Yeah, definitely.
I mean, squad.
The way Rafi Quirk started the season, that starting shirt isn't guaranteed for Faf de Klerk when he returns.
And it's the contrast in styles as well between the two, because Rafi Quirk, the young, sort of fast player. But Faf de Klerk, you don't expect the same style.
But that being said, Rafi Quirk, his kicking game is still on point. His box kicking is still very good. We saw the other week against Gloucester, his box kick set up a try. It was a quality box kick that caused all problems in the air for Gloucester.
Yeah.
So, what else is there to say about it? This moves Sale up to 7th in the table. Quins stay in 2nd. Still strong starts of the season for Quins. And I mean, they haven't won up at the AJ Bell since 2014.
It's definitely a hard stadium to go to.
It's a hard game. It's a hard game for anyone.
Especially teams, though, like Bristol, your Quins, that play the game that Sale seems so great at countering.
Yeah, definitely. So anyway, next up was Newcastle Falcons versus Bristol. Keir, I'm going to let you take the lead on this one.
Well, I didn't get to watch the game, so I'm only going off what I saw on the highlights. And I know a lot of Bristol fans, I wasn't expecting a huge amount from Bristol, not just because of the start to the season we've had, but if you look at the squad, it's a really young squad. I mean, that midfield, I don't think any of them ever started for Bristol.
No.
I know Jack Bates, he usually only gets a few minutes at the end of a few games a season.
Yeah.
And then Antoine Frisch, I don't think I've ever seen him play for Bristol.
No.
So it was exciting to see how they got on. I'm glad the scoreline wasn't an absolute thrashing.
Yeah.
They can defend, even against... I mean, you wouldn't class Falcons as a massively brilliant attacking side, but they're still competent. They're still
and they still got danger players like Adam Radford.
Oh, 100%,
example,
yeah.
You know?
So then how the midfield coped, I thought that was a positive sign for Bristol, especially being young players.
Yeah.
And I feel maybe things are starting to get better and click more for Bristol. I mean, a 13-5 scoreline, you can never say, oh, they were massively off, they were never going to win it.
I mean, an absolute cracker of a first half. Staying scoreless until about the 35th minute. What a cracker. So it's been a disappointing start to the season for Bristol. Only one win, really. 12th in the table, after finishing top last year.
But, I mean, you look at their opening games and you've got Wasps, you've got Saracens, you've got, who else? Quins. It's like 3 teams we've never historically done amazingly well. Maybe Quins the past few years have done decent against. We beat them
until a semi-final.
Yeah, as long as it's not 4 scores up at half-time, I think.
Yeah, that's true. You need to be down at half-time.
I think we do. But no, it's been a tough start to the season for Bristol, and now we've got Worcester coming up soon as well. That hopefully don't want to put any shade on Worcester, but historically Bristol do well against Worcester. It's at home as well. It's a good time to sort of reset everything.
Also a bye week this week for Bristol. Good time to rest, recuperate.
Well, Pat Lam has a lot of work to do, I feel.
Yeah, he does. Well. He does. But Bristol are a quality team.
Yes.
We all know. I don't like to admit it, but they are.
They are, but when they have to have a lot of things going right, as soon as things start to go wrong for Bristol, especially, I mean, when they lose a few key players, you saw it last season. We only just grinded out those few wins, and this season it looks like we're getting in similar situations where last season we would have still managed to get the win. But this season we're not quite. We'll have to see more later in the season. But
I think the bye weeks come at a good time for Bristol.
Oh, definitely.
You know, just gives them a chance to reset. But with that done. Let's move on to the televised game on Saturday. It was Wasps v Exeter. Exeter getting a 27-23 win. What do you make of that?
It was another really good game, I thought.
It was a good game.
It was tight to the end. I only got to watch really about 20 minutes of the second half live.
Yeah.
So again, I'm relying on the highlights.
Yeah. But
Wasps were looking strong as well, I felt.
Yeah, they were.
But Exeter, again, I feel they played well enough that it's a performance you could see them developing on and winning the league because of. They played quite well. Yeah, they definitely did. They definitely did. I mean, I'm going to talk about my irritation, but it doesn't matter now because they won. But Exeter had so many penalties in the second half where I think they should have just taken the 3. Because you wouldn't have watched this, but for the first 20 minutes of the second half, Exeter were playing practically all in Wasps' 22, and they got no reward from it. You see that a lot these days, though. Teams like Bristol, Quins especially, Quins and Bristol, they never really go for the points unless they're right in front of the post. I mean, the thing is, if you score a try and you get the win, then it doesn't matter. But I think if you lose, it just comes across as naive rugby. Yeah, and you'd have to say there's a few times where if teams would have taken the points, it's the momentum swing as well you get with it. Yeah. You get the points on the board, you're forcing the team to do other things. Building the scoreboard. Surely with teams like Bristol, Quins, even Exeter, that's going to open up the holes if teams try to force things more so than if teams are comfortable in defence. All we've got to do is defend. I mean, I say all we've got to do is defend against
an extra 5 metre line out. Can you be comfortable? And it is their weapon, and they've done it for a while where they've done this. They've ignored points at kickable opportunities, and it does pay off for them. So I guess they'll go with what works for them, but it's just my minor grievances.
Yeah, and talk about extra players though in the England squad. Cowan Dickey, very unfortunate timing with the injury.
Yes, but Cowan Dickey is in the England squad, yeah. Yeah, he is in the England squad.
Have I done a bit of a... have I understood something wrong?
Yeah, I think you have. He's in the England squad, I'm pretty sure. I think he had an injury scare, but he's been picked in the England squad.
Okay, I've obviously not seen the update.
Do you think he went off injured?
Yeah, that was the injury scare,
yeah, but he is in the England squad, and you have to say, if he is fit, with no Jamie George in the England squad, he's going to be...
You know what it was? I was watching the commentary for the Saracens game with Jamie George scoring, and they mentioned it there.
Yeah. But no, so Cowan Dickey's the one in the England squad, and you have to say he's probably going to be the one starting at hooker for England.
I just can't see Jamie George starting for England at this current stage.
But he's not even in the England squad.
Well, no.
I mean, I thought he had a poor Lions tour.
Oh, yeah, really.
And I think you look at it, is it down to being in the Championship for a year?
I feel with a lot of the players that were in the Championship, I
don't think they're currently playing their best rugby.
I think Maro Itoje can be an exception.
Yeah, well, I mean, Maro Itoje got player of the tour on the Lions tour.
Yeah, he's just crazy. He
seems to just put out a 10 out of 10 every time he steps on the pitch for some reason, annoying me. But
he's horrible when you're playing against him.
Oh yeah, definitely. But for other players, Jamie George, he played well against Bath on the weekend. Again, everyone on Saracens did, but he hasn't seemed to be playing his best rugby for a bit. He certainly didn't on the Lions tour. And on that, look at Mako Vunipola. He's not been playing his best rugby.
No.
I mean, I don't think he should have gone on the Lions tour, Mako Vunipola. But and then you look at Owen Farrell.
Yeah, I think since he's been in the Championship, I've not rated him too highly. He definitely needs to play more the centre role than the 10 role.
Yeah,
because if he's playing 10, he's not. I think he's lost the stuff that lets him play 10. He's lost that game management head at the international standard.
Yeah, but I just think that's got to be down to playing the Championship for a year.
Surely,
you're not testing yourself against this high level opposition.
He was one of the players I was surprised the most didn't try to go on a loan out, or Sarries didn't let him. I don't know.
I think it would have been he didn't want to, because you make yourself ineligible for England then for a year.
Yeah, but he could have loaned to a Premiership club.
Yeah, but I don't know. But anyway, so another talking point from the Wasps-Exeter game. Throughout the week, there was controversy surrounding Exeter Chiefs and the headdress. Now, Wasps didn't decide to ban it, but they did say, we strongly discourage you wearing it.
Yeah.
Also, interestingly, in the sort of social media graphics that teams have, Wasps left the ex-Chiefs badge off theirs.
Yeah.
Now, with this Wasps? Now, this should have been a conversation for a while. They got rid of the mascot, the big chief, whatever, and rightly so.
For the
but
better,
the thing is, I look at Exeter Chiefs, and they just don't care that it is this.
No,
like you go on their website. You go on their website. The header, the big picture you see first, is fans in the headdress.
Yeah,
they don't take it seriously.
It's like they're just turning a blind eye to it, or they're just saying no, it's absolutely fine.
I mean, I don't want to say they're embracing it, because I would hate to think that they are, but I think it's hard to argue against that at this point.
Have they put out they've not put out a statement?
No, they haven't. And the thing is, when they rebranded as the Ex-Chiefs, whether or not they knew or thought it was racist or cultural appropriation or whatever,
I'm sure they didn't.
They wouldn't have done it. Well. But surely, at this point, or even for the past 5-6 years this has been going on, you have to wonder why they've kept it, because what do they gain from keeping it?
Yeah, unless you say they built that strong brand.
But they just gain bad PR from that brand.
Yeah. I mean, and I think Bristol have shown you can do a rebrand very well.
Yeah.
I mean, you look at the Bristol rebrand and it's it's now, at first, as a Bristol fan, I was horrified by that rebrand.
Yeah.
I thought it was the worst thing that's ever happened to the club. But now it's incredible. The Bears brand, if you synchronize it with a sort of a period, like we had it with him and Pat Lam going into the Premiership.
Yeah, Challenge Cup win.
Yeah.
First in the Premiership.
Yeah, and it's sort of created this brand because of the rugby we played in the Premiership that was so fresh.
Yeah.
When Bristol started
when
playing
I think
it.
about the Bears, I just think this wonderful running rugby.
Yeah, and it's almost like now I think of Bristol rugby as Andy Robinson, slow rugby.
Oh, and that horrendous season up in the Premiership.
Yeah, and the many in the Championship when we failed to get promotion.
Yeah.
But I think so. Exeter, if they focus on the rugby and then just do the rebrand as well, if they can build their brand, it's not. I don't think it's going to hurt them in any way. If anything, it will benefit them.
Yeah, exactly. All they gain from keeping the Chiefs is bad PR. That's all they gain from it.
Yeah, there's also the argument that if you take the name Chiefs away, are people always still going to call them the Chiefs?
I suppose so, but it doesn't mean you can still just keep the logo of the headdress on. Fans
I feel the logo especially needs to change.
Yeah, and I just think fans wearing the headdress as well, it's ridiculous. I mean, the fact that we're in, 2021?
It's crazy how out of everything, if this was a football team, it would have been cancelled.
If it was an American football team, they all changed theirs.
Yeah,
over in America. And the thing is, they actually have Native Americans over there.
Well, yeah.
Who was the last Native American you saw in Devon, Kieran?
I don't know. Have you seen any walking around Exeter?
Yeah, this is context here. We're both at university. We're both at Exeter University, okay? And I haven't seen any Native Americans yet.
I haven't either. So.
No, exactly.
I mean, there isn't a society about it even, so...
No, exactly. But, so what I do like is it seems, particularly over the past 6 months, the conversation around
there's traction.
Exeter.
I think
a
lot of... I want to say Wasps have seemed to be central to a lot of the discussions.
Well, they seem to be, because they're the first club
taking
to
action
really...
about it.
Yeah, their first club to...
Subtle as it is.
Even if it's not taking action, just strongly discouraging. But it started the conversation, for example, on Rugby Tonight on BT Sport, they were talking about it. So getting the conversation is going is good, but it's taken far too long for this conversation to happen.
But it's not too late to try to do something. It's not just because it hasn't been discussed.
No, but it's better late than never.
Yeah, definitely.
Definitely, and I just think ex-Chiefs need to end up just changing. Sooner the better, really. But anyway...
We move on.
Yeah, let's move on from the doom and gloom about racism and cultural appropriation to the next game, which was Worcester Warriors against Leicester Tigers. So, this finished 48-3 to Leicester.
I mean...
Now, what I take from this, is Worcester... They bring in all these signings.
It's not
namely
players,
Rory Sutherland, Duan van der Merwe. Add on to that, they've brought in good players. They got people like Ollie Lawrence.
Yeah, they had a really good recruitment season. Their recruitment season was better than the likes of Bristol.
Yeah, and they brought in, I think, good squad players. People like Matt Garvey, who I know is a Bath fan. He can cover second row and the blind side.
Yeah.
Will Chudley, again from Bath, a decent scrum half. And Willie Hines as well.
It's really solid.
And it's that Owen Williams, that fly half as well. They made good signings, and nobody can deny that.
Their squad doesn't look like a bad squad. It doesn't look like a bottom of the table squad.
No, exactly. But you have to say, with all the new signings, it's the same
absolutely
shit from
dreadful.
Worcester. They started off this season well for some reason. They had that win against London Irish at the start.
Yeah.
Somewhat... not an awful performance at Quins. They've got a few points on the board at least. But
better than 3. So.
Yeah, exactly. But they just... they're just not good, Worcester.
You've got to look in the coaching staff now, at this point. If you've got these players,
you have to
this
say
recruitment...
that for years with Worcester.
Yeah, and then if
But the difference is, for a while you would have said they just don't have the squad to really be compared. I mean, they've had a few good players over the years. I think Josh Adams played for them. At the moment, you got people like Ted Hill, who's highly rated. Ollie Lawrence, of course, been in the England team.
I was thinking about it. I think one thing Worcester almost lack is their identity as a squad.
Yeah.
You think of Bristol, you think fast rugby. This is what they're all about. You think of Quins, you think their style. You think Chiefs, Sale. They've all got their own. Most the top teams have a style you sort of think synonymous with the club, and it doesn't have to be a unique style. But you don't know what you expect from Worcester.
No,
apart from very little points scored, obviously.
Yeah. Mind you, I think. Do you know what? Yeah. Worcester are on BT Sport once in the first 10 rounds. Yeah. And that's a problem, you'd have to say. I mean...
if you were a Worcester fan, definitely.
No, but even so, if you... I mean, I'm not saying I want to watch Worcester, because that's not necessarily true. Sorry, any Worcester fans. But I'd like them to be on TV more, to be televised, to see what they're about.
Yeah, and the only time you really see is when your club plays against them at home at your stadium, and you get to see one game a season of Worcester Warriors playing. Can you call it rugby, or can you call it letting the other team through and score a few points?
But then I'd also draw upon London Irish. They're on twice, and with their draw against Sale Sharks a few weeks ago. Remember that 31 all. And the commentators were saying you never get a dull game at the Brentford Community Centre. Yeah. So why don't you put them on more?
I mean, of course, the TV rights holders of like BT are obviously going to want the games that they think are going to be more exciting.
Yeah, exactly. But
people want to watch. So
I just want to see more recognition for teams like.
I'm more annoyed. I'd rather pay more a month and get every Premiership game broadcast like last season. But we don't even have that option.
No, exactly.
I think if we had the option of paying just, say, a rugby bundle for BT, they can make loads off that.
Because do you know what, the argument is it would stop fans going to games.
There's no comparison. There's no comparison.
Like, you and me both know, we would rather be in the stadium watching the game than at home.
100%.
100%.
Although, actually, how Bristol are going, they're better when there's no fans there.
Well, even as a Bath fan. It's not exactly. But anyway, I mean, lockdown was awful. Yeah. For everyone, for a number of reasons, but the biggest for me was
missing
not being
the
able to get in the ground.
I remember the first game after going back from lockdown. The atmosphere was incredible. It was the Gloucester. Bristol
I remember watching on TV the atmosphere.
Everyone was just electric.
What was it? Even though there was only like 4,000 fans there, it sounded like a capacity crowd.
There was 3,000 there.
3,000, but it sounded like a capacity crowd.
Yeah, everyone was yelling their lungs out completely. There was a chant for the TMO at one point.
Yeah. I mean, the first game I went back to after lockdown was Bath Northampton, last game of the season. I just love being back. It just felt so good to be back.
Yeah, and I feel it's people aren't. There's never going to be a substitute for going to the game, getting the atmosphere.
Is there anything better than pre-match pints, a pasty or a pie?
Exactly.
And then going into your seats.
I don't think, maybe the casual fans that aren't really into rugby, but they're not going to be the ones buying the tickets anyway.
No, exactly.
So if anything, getting them watching the games on the TV more is actually going to get them wanting to go to a game and see what it's like. So, I mean, you've got these, you can see the point, they want more ticket sales. You don't get places like Ashton Gate selling out very much.
No, exactly. And I think you look at attendance figures, and
I think they're down for Bristol at least.
The problem is they're not massively different to before lockdown levels. Rugby's never been, particularly in grounds team share of football teams. Yeah, rugby's never been able to fill them out.
Yes, apart from some headline games.
Like exactly.
Your Bristol Bath used to, but this season it didn't even sell it out. No, it didn't.
But like, I look at, for example, the Rec. Even
proper rugby ground.
Yeah, it's a proper rugby ground, but even that, it doesn't always sell out. Yeah. It did on the weekend.
Yeah, unfortunately.
Well, it was half empty by half time. But
was it actually?
No, it wasn't. It wasn't. For some reason, people like myself decided to stay. I think it's like masochism, Kieran. That's what it is.
I mean, if you stay with Bath through that, you'll stay with them through anything. That was.
Oh my god, it was awful. But anyway, we'll get onto that in a bit. Anyway, back to it. We're talking about Worcester and Leicester. We've talked about Warriors. How impressive have Leicester been so far this season?
I think the old Leicester is.
It is. I would agree.
We could see the rise of Leicester again. They were a bit of a joke a few seasons ago.
Yeah, exactly. But Steve Borthwick, full credit to him, he's really built something there.
Yeah, it's actually I'm looking forward to seeing a strong Leicester. I think the Premiership is better with a strong Leicester Tigers.
It's like how international rugby is better with a strong South Africa.
Yeah, and when South Africa, it was almost like international rugby missed something.
Yeah.
When South Africa weren't there,
and Premierships miss something without a strong Leicester team.
I mean, the Bristol-Leicester rivalry goes back way about the only few teams that had letters on the back of their shirts.
Yeah, you can. The thing is, you can ask anyone; they say they're rivals with Leicester.
Yeah, exactly.
But Bar for rivals with Leicester, big ones as well.
Yeah,
and that's the thing that Leicester are. They are historically the biggest club in England.
They're the team everyone wanted to beat, and recently it's been too easy to beat them.
Exactly. What was upsetting the past few seasons was they were much like Worcester. You go play them, you score, you get a few tries past them, and then you go home without much trouble. Yeah,
but I'm really enjoying Leicester being up top.
Yeah. I mean, they got a good quality team as well now. They got, of course, they got their South Africans in the back row, Jasper Visa and Van Staden.
Yeah.
Strong performances and really strong for South Africa over the summer as well.
And they suit Leicester style.
Yeah, exactly. And then you look in the backs, you got George Ford, who, despite not being in the England team, has played exceptionally well this season.
He's always been a really good, exceptional player, I feel.
I mean, even in the few years ago where Leicester were really, really bad,
he was the only
George
thing keeping
Ford was incredible.
Afloat,
he was the only one keeping them in the league.
Yeah.
He was, but you add on to that as well. You look at Freddie Stewart, who's I think should be England's starting fullback this autumn. You got Harry Potter, who's incredible, and then you got Nemani Nandolo, who just seemed impossible to bring down on the weekend.
Harry Potter is such an unfortunate name, isn't it?
It really is.
you know, as soon as he's picked for that England squad, if he is England? Yeah, he is. Just double checking after my as soon as he's picked, if he is, the commentators are gonna have so much fun in the internationals with that.
Yeah, but you also look at your front row as well. Ellis Genge, you got Montoya and Nick Dolly's got a few tries this season, and then Dan Cole. It's a strong pack. It's strong backs.
Yes,
you have to say Leicester are back. What are they? 5 from 5 to start the season?
I think so.
5 from 5. They're top of the league, 23 points. They've been good, and it's good to see them back.
Yes. Do you think they'll stay up there the whole season?
I don't think they carry on as first.
No.
But I would put money on them getting in the playoffs.
And being above Bristol at this form.
At this form, yeah. But right now, I'd put money on them being in the playoffs this year.
I would as well. And the thing I love about the playoffs is when you have a mix of different styles and teams.
Yeah, exactly.
You have it shows how rugby, there's no one solution. It's all the different...
There's no one right way to win a rugby game.
All the different styles.
Yeah.
Because you'd have to back probably Harlequins at their rate to be up in the
how they're still playing, I think you'd would. Yeah.
As well, so you've got complete contrast there.
Yeah, definitely. Anyway, so that rounds up Saturday's games. Let's talk Sunday before we get to where I'm gonna.
I could see you looking at the notes and absolutely dreading that.
We'll talk first about London Irish Gloucester. So a 25-all draw. Irish still yet to win this season, but they've had 2 draws. Why can't Irish win?
Well, even at Bristol, they tend to draw against Bristol a lot from my memory.
Actually.
So maybe they just love drawing against southwest teams.
Yeah. But I don't know. It's weird.
Irish, they're I feel the real definition of a mid-table side at the moment.
Yeah.
They'll pick up points and they're a solid side, especially on their day.
Yeah.
They can put out some performances and they're never a pushover, I would say.
Yeah, but do you know what's weird? To start this season, or for the first 4 games, everyone's big problem with Irish is that they would go down multiple scores and then give themselves too much work. Against Sale, they came back and drew 31-all.
Yeah.
Against Northampton, if it wasn't for a moment of madness from Tuasui, they probably would have won that game.
Yeah.
But they've just given themselves way too much work to come back. Now with Gloucester, they went in front of a few scores and then seemed, I wouldn't say bottle it, they didn't bottle it, but they sort of threw it away a bit.
Gloucester is kind of typical to throw it away, but I mean...
Yeah.
But, I mean, I don't know what... because you'd have to say, if it's something in the first half, you'd have to say it's a mindset thing, warm-up maybe. I know Bristol were known for their extremely aggressive warm-ups last season.
Yeah.
But, they've got it in stints in a game.
Yeah, definitely. Particularly like the first 20 minutes of the second half.
Maybe it's like specifically when they start to get momentum, when something happens.
Yeah, but
they start to win.
But they need to start with that momentum.
Yeah,
and they need to find a way. I know it's impossible to keep that momentum up for as many of the 80 minutes as possible.
But they need to find how they get it.
Yeah,
what gets them in the game and what's making them win get points.
Yeah.
I feel that's going to be the main thing.
Yeah.
Again, Irish, I don't know how Irish particularly play. I never know what to expect from them.
Yeah.
They're not slow, they're not massively open playing like your Bristols, your Quins, but they're not your Sales, your Exeters.
Yeah, definitely.
So
on Gloucester, I thought Adam Hastings at fly half had a very good game. Good kick penalties, and his passing was good, vision was good. I think he's a really good signing.
I think important as well. I think he's going to bring a lot of what Gloucester, because Cipriani, of course,
he's fun.
But I feel what is typical of Gloucester, you could put a lot to Danny Cipriani's general style of play.
Yeah, definitely. But I think Adam Hastings, I see him as a much more competent,
level-headed.
I don't want to say competent, level-headed.
That's what I was thinking.
Yeah. Because of course Danny Cipriani's competent,
and I feel that's what Gloucester needs more than the big fancy flair fly half.
Yeah,
they need that level-headedness.
You never see anything fancy with Adam Hastings.
No,
I never think when I watch him, I never think that's going to make the highlight reel. But he always puts in a very solid performance. Yeah, and he makes the players around him better.
And I feel that's what one of the key things for a fly half should be.
Yeah.
You think George Ford, you never see him do massively spectacular
They don't
stuff.
want to be the centre of attention.
Yeah, they're the ones making their team get the most out of it.
Yeah.
I mean, you can't have that on your scrum half. Your scrum half's got too much to do. They've got to pass the ball every 2 seconds.
Yeah.
Your fly half's got enough time, organise your forwards, your backs and everything like that. And I feel if you don't have a player like that, then it's going to hurt your team. And maybe that's why the Eddie Jones never really picked Danny Cipriani. Yeah. Because he's picking players like George Ford, like Farrell, that more manage the players around them than the players themselves. Yeah, definitely. Than worry about them being on the highlight reel.
But so far, Adam Hastings has been a really good signing for Gloucester and will prove to be a good signing going further. But also I want to bring up Lewis Rees-Zammit, scored an intercept try. He's quick. He's so quick.
That's enough said about him, really. He's just very, very quick.
Yeah. And you know, there's all this talk at the moment of who's the fastest player, and a lot of people bring up Adam Radwan.
I'd love to see
Adam Radwan's quick. Now, do you know what? For last season, it was who's quicker, Johnny May or Lewis Rees-Zammit. And then in the Six Nations, Rees-Zammit had that chase with Johnny May where he just completely gassed him.
Yeah.
And so that settled that argument for a bit. But now with the Adam Radwan argument coming maybe, I think, Six Nations time, England-Wales we're going to see England put Adam Radwan on the wing just to see who's quicker.
Oh, please. I would love to see it. Let's have first minute. Then no one's exhausted.
Exactly.
No other factors.
Fair race.
Can we get a pre-game warm-up, pre-game entertainment?
Yeah, I think so. I think
we need just Adam Radwan, Louis Rees-Zammit.
Yeah. Oh, definitely.
I mean, who would you back in that race? It's tough to decide.
I'd back Rees-Zammit.
I think I was going to say Rees-Zammit as well.
Now, of course, Adam Radwan's quick, but Rees-Zammit I just think is something else.
Yeah. It's going to be exciting to see.
I'm sorry to think about this. Back in the Lions tour, when we played South Africa A, you know they scored that breakaway try from a charge down Diolande to Nkossi, I think it was, on the wing or someone. But anyway, Rees-Zammit ran from the other side of the pitch.
It nearly caught him as well,
And the problem is, the only reason he didn't catch him was because he was going too quick and went past him.
Yeah,
I think Nkossi did the step. So he was going too quick for his own good in the end.
And
but he's quick.
You look at Johnny May and what he's achieved with England.
Yeah.
There is a lot of space for just a fast winger.
Oh, definitely.
I mean, you've got the wingers that really, really solid steps. I mean, you've got the like Lewa, Nandolo type wingers.
Yeah.
Who are just built as well.
Yeah.
But I do love a good, absolutely
definitely.
fast winger.
Definitely.
The amount of kick throughs to him, I can see.
Oh, definitely.
You see him scoring a lot through that.
Oh, yeah. Anyway, that's Irish Gloucester. We'll get on to the final game of the weekend.
I'm just going to stall it for as long as possible. Longest introduction sentence ever.
So I was, of course, there.
Unfortunately.
That was the worst I've ever seen Bath play. The worst I've ever seen Bath play. It was a shocking performance. It was terrible from minute 1 to minute 80.
Well, minute 70.
Hold on. The only reason we scored those tries is because Saracens had stopped playing by then. Let's all be honest. I mean, they were 71-7 up. They didn't need to do anything, did they?
They just wanted to create a perfectly mirrored score.
Yeah. How nice of them. Yeah. How nice of them. But, right. I think we should say this, yeah. We're not going to pretend to be neutral here.
We're neutral with most of the games at the moment, apart from Bristol Bath.
But as you see on many rugby podcasts and professional rugby pundits, they have to be neutral, okay? Yeah. Even when it's teams they support that are playing, they have to be neutral. Except if you're Jonathan Davis watching Wales or Lawrence Delalio watching Wasps.
Or Austin Healey these days, watching Bristol.
That's true. But we're not going to pretend to be neutral, especially when it's concerning teams that we support.
Yeah.
I think that would be a good rule, so I'm not going to pretend to be neutral here. I will say, for one though, I thought Saracens were very, very good for about the first 30 minutes, because for the rest of the game they could take it as a training game, and they were still far better than us. That was awful from Bath. It was shocking.
45-0 at half-time.
Do you want to know something interesting? Bath in 2008 were beating Saracens 45-0 at half-time, which is a bit weird. But it was just unacceptable. It was absolutely unacceptable.
Yeah. As a Bristol fan, I'm starting to feel sympathy for all the Bath supporters.
We were talking about this just a bit earlier. I was talking to my dad on the weekend about it. The worst thing about it is Bristol fans weren't even taking the mick.
No.
Nobody was taking the mick. They just felt sorry. They felt sympathy. That was the worst thing about it.
It was
that we were so bad that people weren't taking the mick. They were sorry. They were genuinely sorry.
I mean, I did have a good laugh about it with my flatmates.
But
when it comes to talking to Bath, you just want to just give them a hug.
It was. There are some key stats from it, which, for example, scrum success, 33% from Bath.
That's poor. Surrey's scrum is looking quite strong
know it
this
is,
season.
But against Bristol as well a few weeks ago, our scrum was terrible.
Yep.
All season, our scrum's been terrible so far.
But you look at your front row.
Yeah, exactly. Benno Obano capped by England, Tom Dunn capped by England, Will Stewart capped by England.
And
Neil Hatley is our coach.
Yeah.
Neil Hatley, England's former forwards coach. So what's he doing? What did they spend their bye week doing? Add on to that, our line-out success was something like 73%. Not good enough. Yeah. You have to get your basics right to even stand a chance in games these days.
And teams like Sarries.
Exactly, Sarries will just punish you.
Yeah.
What else? Oh yeah, not even really. 17 penalties conceded. You can't concede more than 10 in a professional game of rugby if you want any chance. No. 17 conceded.
That's crazy.
What's wrong with the discipline?
It's just discipline penalties. They're not coaching. It's not like something you have to coach out your players. And it's Bath. What were most of the penalties for? Do you remember? Because I didn't watch the full game.
They were like 11 for attacking ones and 6 for defensive ones. But it was, I can't remember because I was just trying to purge it
just
from
seems
my memory.
Desperation when you give away that many penalties.
It was just, here's some more stats for you, not about the game in particular, but that is Bath's worst ever home defeat, 54 points. 71 points is the third most conceded in a Premiership game.
Yeah.
This is Bath's worst start to a season for 20 years. Now, on paper, Bath do not have a bad squad.
They've never had a bad squad on paper. Never. They've always had a good squad.
The weird thing, I got a book called The Bath Rugby Enigma. Because that's what Bath Rugby are, they're an enigma.
Yeah.
We haven't won it. The last time we won a Premiership title, a top flight title, half the team wasn't even born.
Yeah.
We won, going back to our last We won the Challenge Cup in 2008. That's probably our last major trophy. Before that, won the Heineken Cup in 98.
I mean, Bath always have a lot of international, especially England players. Yeah. They've always had a lot of those quality players.
Long gone are, but it seems long gone are the days of where you had your Jeremy Guskets.
Yeah.
I put in the notes here, for our notes, because we're doing this professionally. The main point I put was fucking embarrassing.
I mean, is there any other description for a 71-17?
No, there isn't. There isn't. I've also put here, because Bath have a very good squad. Okay? They have a very good squad on paper.
Yeah.
You know, you got countless England internationals. I mean, mind you, for some reason, Charlie Ewels has 20 England caps. He was atrocious on the weekend, as he has been for a while. And he's been picked in the England squad again. You look at then our back row, you got Miles Reed, good young player, really like him. Got Sam Underhill, who actually I thought was the only player who had a decent game.
I mean, Sam Underhill is just a monster as well.
I wouldn't say in defence, because no one was good in defence, but his carrying was very good, I thought.
I mean, he puts in some massive
Yeah, he made line
well.
breaks. I thought he was the only player that had a half-decent performance.
Yeah.
Then you go on, I know at scrum half it's Ollie Fox at the moment, because Ben Spencer's injured.
Who's your fly-half these days?
Danny Cipriani.
Of course.
Yeah, Danny Cipriani.
But, I mean, that one mistake.
That one pass where he just flung it and Max Maynard intercepted. I mean, what the fuck is he thinking?
I mean, any international fly-half never throws that pass.
Or Danny Cipriani does. And sometimes it comes off. But the thing is, you look at it from the wide angle, even if that came off, there wasn't going to be anything on, because the Harrisons were all numbered up on the outside.
It just didn't make sense.
No, it was just... then, look in the centres, Max Ojomo, good young player. I thought he was very good against Bristol 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, he was.
In honesty, he wasn't awful against Saracens, not as bad as a lot of people. 13, Jonathan Joseph. How many caps does he have for England? A lot.
Yeah, very much. I thought you were going to quiz me on that one.
No, because I don't know off the top of my head, but he has a lot. Then you look in our back three, you got Will Muir, 4 England sevens. Tom de Glanville, who's a good young player as well. Good under the high ball on Sunday, but didn't have his best of games. And then Anthony Watson, who's got, again, how many England caps? 5 Lions caps, and what the fuck did he do? He did nothing on the weekend.
I feel this is going to be one of life's greatest mysteries, how Bath have so many quality players, yet always manage to...
The last time we had a good season was 2015 when we got to the Premiership final and lost. And we played good rugby that year, but even before then and since then, it's mostly dog shit.
Yeah.
I
can't disagree.
You have to ask... Hold on, because I'm going to... I'm going to get it up on my phone now, Bath's next few fixtures. Sorry, I got it somewhere. I should have come prepared. But these are Bath's next 5 fixtures.
And I'll say if you're going to win them or not.
Right, we got Quins next week.
Yeah, that's never happening.
What's the week after?
No.
Leicester after that. At Welford Road.
No.
Exeter after that.
No.
And then Northampton after that. At Franklin's Gardens.
Yeah, it's...
Bath will not win any one of those.
Yeah, do you have any week breaks in between?
No, we just had our bye week last week. Which makes you think, what did we spend 2 weeks doing? We couldn't even catch the fucking ball on Sunday. What did we spend 2 weeks doing?
Well, it sounds like sitting back on the sofa and having a few beers. It's just...
But Bath, so far, 0 from 4 to start the season. They're not going to win any of the next 5 games. I try and be optimistic, but we're not, realistically.
I don't want to go and single out people, but when Stuart Hooper, when he came in as a Bath coach...
About that in a sec. But we're going to get to December, Bath with no wins. In December. Now, after a 71-17 loss, you have to ask questions of the coaching team.
100%.
Listen, Stuart Hooper is a Bath rugby legend.
Doesn't mean he's going to be a great coach.
He would always get the coaching role one day.
Yeah.
However, I feel he went into it too early.
He was always, when I saw Bath new coach Stuart Hooper, I thought he is very young.
The thing is, after he retired, he went straight into coaching at Bath.
Yeah.
Under Todd Blackadder. He was like, I can't remember what his role was, but he was always talking on BT Sport during then, and he does still now. But But I think he came into the job too early. I think he came into it.
I have to say too.
He came into it one director of rugby too early.
Yeah, and it's a shame as well because he's probably not going to get another chance at director of rugby. Yeah, at least at Bath. And do they wait it out? How many 17 losses do you take before you say,
the thing is, how many losses can you take?
Yeah.
If Bath have a good team. Bath is historically a very, very good club. Do you know, this is interesting. You know Brian Moore?
Yeah.
Yeah. I saw one of his tweets, he was talking about this, the Bath game, and he talked about when he was playing, the only team he did not win at was Bath.
Yeah.
He played there he played against Bath 7 times, drew there once, lost there 6 times.
Yeah, Bath should, and historically they've been a great team.
Bath are a big club.
They're.
I mean, any team that has won the European Cup is a big club.
Yeah,
but I just don't understand. And you have to be asking questions of the coaching team.
You do.
You have to. I mean, I don't get what Neil Hatley's been doing because our forwards have looked shit this season.
Yeah,
but you have to ask yourself, how long can Bruce Craig, the CEO, stick with? Because there's been a lot of investment put into Bath, not just the team, but the training facilities as well. A lot of investment has gone to it. I think Bath have enough money to go out and get a top quality coach.
And of course, yeah.
Regardless,
definitely.
I mean, there's rumours today in the Telegraph that maybe Steve Diamond will join the Bath coaching setup, not replace Steve.
No, but that would be good. They need, I think, for now,
but
they
the
need something.
Would it actually make any sense to have a short-term divisive guy that gives you a kick up the arse?
Well, for now, it's better than nothing.
But you need to be thinking about the long term and building a long-term plan. But then again, being 13th, do you bring a Steve Diamond just for a season to give us a kick up the backside?
I think this season.
I wouldn't want him any more for a season.
No, I think you've got to bring something in. You've got to do something this season. I mean, you look when Bristol sacked Andy Robinson.
Yeah.
We bring in Mark Tainton.
Yeah.
And I think it was Solomons.
Mm-hmm.
And immediately that season, things got better. They weren't. We still got relegated for a start, but
but then after
they got better, and then after that season, you reset. You get your Pat Lam in, hard reset of the squad.
Yeah.
Everything's changing.
The thing is,
I feel Bath. Bath can afford to get relegated as well.
Well,
because there's no relegation. They can afford to come bottom.
Exactly,
and so they can afford that season to reset, to regather, to get your Pat Lam in.
Do you know what's interesting? Yeah? Eddie Jones has said the only 2 Premiership clubs he'd coach are Bath or Leicester.
Yeah.
So, with Eddie Jones not carrying on after the World Cup, would that be a potential?
I would like to see. I'm fearful as a Bristol supporter, but Eddie Jones at Bath.
I'd like Eddie Jones at Bath.
I think he could do a lot with the players they've got.
Oh, definitely.
A huge amount.
We make up the bulk of the England team, for Christ's sake.
Half his England squad's there. So.
Yeah, exactly. But do you, looking at it from our point of view, do you try and bring in, if you did, get rid of Stuart Hooper, which I think is becoming increasingly likely.
And increasingly just necessary. Yeah. It has to be done.
Yeah. Do you maybe bring in someone like a Steve Diamond for a season? Do you maybe let Neil Hatley have the top job for the rest of the year? I feel
if you bring in Steve Diamond, you bring him in right now for the rest of this season.
The thing is,
you can't afford a season with a temporary coach and then you have the rest of this season to sort out whatever goes on here, and then next season you've got to bring in your big coach, who's someone who's proven winner, like your Pat Lams. I'm using Pat Lam as an example a lot.
It's a good example. I know you're a Bristol fan.
Because I'm a Bristol fan,
exactly.
But he's a good example of a club that has been not doing well.
Yeah, and he won the Pro 12 with Connaught, for Christ's sake.
He was proven with Connaught, and then we got him in, said, here you go, you do what you want with this squad. Just
and
make us win.
Not just that, but provide funds for him to bring in his players.
Exactly.
I think that's the thing as well. Bath have the funds to do stuff like this.
The salary cap, I'm sure Bath there's not many squads that couldn't reach the salary cap, budget-wise, but Bath could easily. And you've got your marquee players. Bath, they've got a good squad already. They don't need to bring in many new players.
Exactly.
They just need those one.
It is the
those
coaching team. It's the coaching team.
Yeah, you need your Lua Tua that is the key figure in your squad that leads them forward.
I want, and I've wanted Stuart Hooper to succeed. Everyone likes Stuart Hooper at Bath. Everyone does. We want him to succeed, but he just isn't. It's
you give him the benefit of the doubt he had all of that.
Well, I give him the benefit of the doubt for the past. How long has he been in the job? This is his 3rd year now.
Yeah.
So the past 2 years he can have the benefit of the doubt, but
he's not done it. He's never shown any.
When you've had 2 years to put in the groundwork to get something like what Steve Borthwick's done at Leicester. Have a few years, put in the groundwork, lay the foundations, and then you can start kicking on. Bath haven't kicked on, we've regressed.
Well, I hope for Bath's sake and for your mentality's sake,
for my sanity,
that we now jinx it and he has a cracker of a season.
Yeah.
And Bath.
Yeah, we're going to beat Quins this week here. We're going to beat... Oh, Christ.
I think, as a Bristol fan, I need that. I need someone to beat Quins.
But yeah, things are not looking good for Bath at the moment.
Anyways, I think that's enough doom and gloom.
It's enough doom and gloom. Let's move on.
Big news this week.
Big news. So, over the past weeks, nations have started to name their squads for the autumn internationals that are coming up. First, because they were the first to name theirs, and I am Welsh, so we're going to start with them first, is Wales. Now, Wales have named 4 fly halves in their squad.
Very interesting.
Do you know why they have to, though?
Tell me.
Because we're playing New Zealand on October the 30th, yeah?
Oh, and of course,
game's outside the international window.
So Bristol...
So Biggar and Sheedy can't be released by Premiership clubs. So that's why we've called up Ansco and Priestland.
Yeah.
Mind you, they're playing against New Zealand. Now, Priestland is 35. He's done very well, especially for Bath over the past few years, and he started the season all right for Cardiff, but he's 35 and he's about to play New Zealand.
Yeah.
And on that, Gareth Anscombe he's only played a few games since being injured for 2 years.
Yeah. I have to ask, because I can't remember the Welsh squad. Is Johan Lloyd in the squad at all?
No, he's not.
And
I was a bit surprised that I was in the pub on Saturday with my grandpa.
I'd put him in as a winger.
Yeah, I mean, I'd have him in, not even
or
to play,
utility player.
I'd have him in for the exposure to international rugby because he needs that. He's a young player, he needs to grow.
I mean, he's one of the biggest rising talents. I do think, I don't want to say he's a bit overhyped because you can never tell. He's so young.
Yeah. That
you can't tell if he's overhyped.
Well, he needs exposure to that next level. Namely,
he's got he's got a lot of talent. He's got an incredible step for a start.
Yeah,
and he's got his rugby instincts seem very, very good.
Yeah.
He just needs that experience, that game. A bit like what Sheedy was like before Pat Lam came. He had the skills, but he was never that international minded player.
And you hear the way Sheedy talks about Pat Lam interviews.
He says he saved his career.
Well, but anyway, then the big news is Christ Tushunwa has been called up for the 19-year-old Exeter Chiefs lock/back row, been called up for Wales. It's interesting because he's only played a few games for Exeter.
Very early on to say. Is it rushing him
too early?
Or is it giving him the exposure?
And this is my theory. Because Eddie Jones is a slippery bastard, is the plan to get him on for 5 minutes against Fiji just to cap him so England can't have him.
Oh, yeah.
Even though he has said he wouldn't play for England, he's represented Wales at youth level.
Yeah.
You know, is there some kind of thing there? I would hate to think so, because I think that's wrong to tie down players to an international team when they're not ready.
Yeah.
But surely it's got to be for the exposure, just being around the international level arena.
Yeah, and a player like that, you think the amount of benefit he's going to take from being around the big name.
I mean, he's going to be mentored by people like Alan Wynne-Jones.
I was going to say Alan Wynne-Jones, a giant of the game. You just think of every international standard player. They usually have a solid mentor player, not necessarily a designated but someone to look up to, someone to just watch and see how they train, how they.
I mean, the experience would be nothing but positives for him.
And maybe they're just trying to build the next Maro Itoje of Wales.
Yeah, exactly.
Because I mean, he was in the squad for very young.
Yeah.
And of course, he had massive names to learn from.
Yeah. Looking at Wales, I'm going to talk quickly about some of the Welsh regions that I got on the URC over the weekend. Namely, Dragons, they lost 24-10 to the Stormers.
Yeah.
They were winning 10-9 at half-time. Blew it in the second half.
Yeah.
Now, I was interested by this because the Dragons put out the back row they had could well be Wales' back row against New Zealand. It was Ross Moriarty, Tane Basham, and Aaron Wainwright. That could well be Wales, especially considering Justin Tipperick's injured.
Yeah.
Josh Navidi's injured.
Yeah.
Ellis Jenkins went off injured for Cardiff. The Dragons back row on Friday night could well be Wales' back row against New Zealand.
Did you watch the game?
I didn't watch the game. I didn't have a chance to. I watched the highlights.
Yeah.
It wasn't a great second half from the Dragons. But then, to a team that was even worse, the Scarlets. Now, the other week they lost miserably, 43-13 to Munster. And as
Something
well,
like that,
Munster, of course, very good team, but it was a much changed Munster side. They made 11 changes. It was very much a B team for Munster, whereas the Scarlets put out their top team, their A team. Then against Leinster, I don't get me wrong, Leinster put out their A team.
Yeah.
So did the Scarlets. It finished Leinster 50, Scarlets 15.
Yeah, I mean, Leinster are always good.
Yeah, they are, but what I fear is the Scarlets team makes up the bulk of the Welsh team.
Yeah.
And somebody who I thought had a really bad game was Jonathan Davis.
Yeah. And he's fairly key, you would say, to
He's key.
The Welsh squad.
He is. And it was very disappointing to see. But it was very disappointing from the whole Scarlets team. They just they just weren't up to it. And in a way, I know Wales are Six Nations champions, but going into the autumn, I fear for them. I fear for games, especially against New Zealand. Because a lot of the Welsh players who are in England aren't playing, of course. But
I mean, that's going to be a tough game.
South Africa.
Yeah, South Africa's never an easy game. You have to be at the top of your form at the moment to beat South Africa.
Look, of course, we haven't seen how they mix at international, at test level, but especially when at club level, the Welsh players just don't seem to be at it at the moment.
No, although maybe it's my English bias coming in, but I never like the last Six Nations. I didn't fancy Wales winning. No
one did.
And
I didn't.
And look at where they ended up. They ended up doing it.
Yeah, probably were unlucky to not win. I think unlucky not to win the Grand Slam in the end.
Yeah,
that's my being gutted and still holding a lot of resentment towards the French. But I want to be more optimistic, but I just don't see it at the moment. But anyway, I think that's enough about Wales. Scotland named a training camp squad. Now, I don't think we're going to go much into depth about Scotland.
No.
Not for any racial reasons. Not to be xenophobic or anything. But one of the key ones was Dylan Richardson getting called up, the Sharks flanker. Do Scotland have more South Africans than Sale Sharks do?
Yeah.
Yeah. Because they also called up a prop, I think, who I can't remember the name of, for the training camp squad. He's from South Africa as well.
I also can't remember his name.
No, how many South Africans does Scotland need?
Well, a lot, clearly.
Yeah, clearly a lot. Anyway, so that's Scotland. So the big news. We're recording this on Monday, so the teams come out today.
Yes. England team, that is.
The England team. So then, the big ones, big omissions, no Vunipolas and no Jamie George, which Mark McCall said after the Saracens, after the game on Sunday or yesterday, he would be astonished if they weren't in the England team. And they're not.
Yeah, I mean, for me, the Vunipolas the past year, maybe
thing is, though, Billy Vunipola, he's been getting better at the start of this season, but he's just not done enough to earn that England shirt.
And I feel, you look at the whole squad in general with England, it's changing from your typical...
It's a big overhaul.
Absolute smash and bash.
Because this is starting to build for the World Cup now.
Yeah.
So it's an overhaul.
Is Vunipola going to be there for the next World Cup? Would you fancy Vunipola
I'd fancy him to still be playing, but not at the high level he used to be playing
over someone like Simmons or Donbrand. If they get international experience, you've got to back them. they're so spectacular in the Premiership. They can do that in international.
Yeah, but we could talk about the number 8s, but Eddie's hatred of them, it appears. The Telegraph are saying that Curry's in line to start at 8.
Which
typical Eddie Jones, don't you think? Typical Eddie.
Player,
Anyway,
I think Curry is such a typical 7 as well. Like the way he plays,
he's great over the ball.
He's just over the ball. Big hits in the tackles, out of the...
Not the best Lions tour.
No.
But quality player, and he had a very good game on Friday night. The other big omission is George Ford.
Yeah.
Now, Marcus Smith deservedly called up because he has been playing out of his skin. He's been incredible. But George Ford has started the season very, very well.
And what I worry about for England is... Say you do go Randall, Smith, Farrell. Farrell's been a year in the Championship for a start. Mm-hmm. He's hardly played it into... He didn't have the best Lions.
He didn't even play for the Lions in the tests.
No.
He played, I think, 20 minutes off the bench once.
Where's your international experience there? I mean, Farrell's got the experience to make decisions, but he's not the same as he used to be.
Yeah, but also... Randall deservedly called up as well, and actually it's the breakaway for Leo's try on Saturday.
Yeah, I
typical
saw it.
Randall, and he's been doing it for a while now, so deservedly called up as well. Will he be starting though?
That's the That's the thing I'm thinking with Eddie is he's going to start Youngs again just because of international experience.
The thing is, no chance Randall or Quirk starts against South Africa.
No, but the bench wise. Randall off the bench.
And that spot's up for grabs as well. I'd like to see against Tonga, Quirk and Randall being the two scrum halves in the squad. Against Australia, what I'd like to see there is either Randall or Quirk starting and Ben Youngs on the bench.
Yeah, because if it all goes bad, you've got Ben Youngs to bring on.
To make it worse.
Yeah, to chuck it out on.
But then against South Africa, I can only imagine Ben Youngs playing that game.
Oh, yeah, it's not a Randall game, though.
No, but
I mean, Randall is, so small.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe he'll have Faf de Klerk. I mean, he's injured though, isn't he? So,
but can you imagine Randall against Etzebeth and Mostart and Diaga and Dwayne Vermeulen?
Heavy sweeper position there. If he's in that defensive line, they're always just going to run towards Randall.
Yeah, and the thing is, if Randall does have a break, he's just going to end up getting smashed by Dwayne Vermeulen or something. It would be a tough game for him.
Although, again, you could say the big guys is Harry Randall consistently targets those mismatches, those big guys.
Hey, maybe that's the reason to have Randall on the bench, bring it off when people get tired.
Yeah, that's a very good point. And at Bristol, many times, Pat Lam surprised me by picking Uren for first choice over Randall. But when Randall comes on off the bench, when everyone's tired...
Just inject something into that game,
Yeah, and maybe that's what they need. And you have Randall and Smith.
Yeah.
Is Smith going to start?
I wouldn't say against South Africa. I think he'll resort to Farrell at 10 against South Africa.
And Randall and Smith off the bench.
I reckon Smith has to start against Australia and Tonga.
Yeah.
And I think if you had Randall and Smith as your halfbacks, it's like if you gave a toddler cocaine. That's what we would see.
It's almost Eddie Jones giving the people as much as he can what they want.
Yeah.
As well.
Well, he could. Thing is, with Smith, he could not get away with not selecting him.
No,
whereas you'd argue over the past few years, he can get away with not selecting Sam Simmons, even though people hate it and think he should be in there.
Yeah.
If he didn't pick Marcus Smith, then that would be just. I don't even have the words to describe it, but anyway, he has done it, which is of course the right decision.
Yeah.
So that's Ford not in. Will Ford be able to force his way back into the England squad?
If he keeps on playing, and if Smith doesn't work out, I can't see why not.
Because Ford's playing excellent rugby at the moment. And do you know what? That's big for Leicester to keep Ford over the autumn.
Oh, it's huge.
That's big.
I mean, you think of all the other teams now. Harlequins, going to miss, although they do have genuinely world class 10.
Genuine class 10, Tommaso Allen.
Credit Squid Rugby.
Yeah, exactly. But then that's if but he's injured at the moment.
Yeah.
And you'd have to say if he does come back from injury, he'll probably get called up to Italy.
Of course, yeah.
But anyway, that's big for Leicester.
Huge.
But anyway, moving on to another omission, I think, is Joe Marchant, who I think He's been playing very good rugby for a while now. He's for the past few years he's been in and around that England team.
We talked about this Friday.
Yeah, we did, and I just don't see why he's not in the England squad.
Yeah, I mean, he's usually outside centre.
Outside centre, can play wing as well. I mean,
who's in the squad again for the outside centre?
There's Tuilagi, there's Slade. God, there must be other centres. Mark Atkinson's in there.
Yeah.
And of course Farrell plays 12. So
yeah,
that's right. I don't even think Ollie Lawrence made the cut.
No, I don't remember seeing him.
No, but yeah, Joe Marchant's one for me. And then I think not staying in from the training squad is Lewis Liner. Now,
every time I play Quins, he's a danger man.
I mean, he can't stop scoring tries. Now, you ask pretty much any pundit out there, and they will say he's not ready for international rugby yet. And I agree as well. He's very good. Don't get me wrong. I'm not going to try and suggest, but one day and that day will be very soon. He'll be ready for international rugby, but that day just isn't yet. But does this leave the door open for Australia to swoop in?
Yeah. I feel Eddie's almost fell for that many times, allowing other nations to nab him.
Yeah, I mean, he did that with Callum Sheedy, didn't he? Because Callum Sheedy played for England against the Barbarians.
Yeah. I don't know for Sheedy, though, whether he was always
because he is from Cardiff.
Yeah,
and you'd have to think. But he did play for England against the Barbarians. So clearly, if England wanted him, they could have had him.
Was that just him saying, free international experience, they're not capping me?
No, I think it's an England saying, it's England going, if we want him, we can have him. But anyway, Lewis Liner, it's right not to call him up, but I think you're then playing the risk. Will Australia swoop in?
Yeah, definitely.
We'll see.
Well, Australia, they've ditched that.
Because Corey Betty, and Corey Betty's not in the Australia squad because he's staying home for family reasons. So a spot on the wings opened up.
Yeah. I mean, it would be good now for Australia, but
it would be.
If you're Liner, do you?
If I was Liner, I wouldn't tie myself now because there's no guarantee you'll get back in either squad. And what's the point of being called up if you're just going to get capped for 5 minutes off the bench against a tier 2 nation in a game that you're already winning 48-0?
Yeah.
That's really it for the England squad. I hope we covered everything, or at least everything we wanted to. Then this came out this week. Odds for the next England coach.
I did see.
Now, of course, Eddie Jones is not carrying on after the 2023 World Cup. So, the favourite at 2-1, Rassie Erasmus.
That surprised me immensely, I would say.
The thing is, England seem to have liked to steal South Africa's coaches because they stole their forwards coach from the World Cup. But Rassie Erasmus... Now, would you turn your nose up at Rassie Erasmus?
I mean, after all the Lions tour stuff...
Yeah.
I mean, he suits the England brand of rugby very well. They're just 15 bullies on the pitch to bully the team is what England has turned into. Although, if you're now gearing up for a Randall Smith 10, is Rassie Erasmus the best option? Maybe not, considering how you've seen him coach South Africa. Although also on the list was
Rob Baxter was but he's never really shown an interest in the England job.
I think he's extra through and through. I think
if he can stay at Exeter,
unless they fall in form, I don't think he's.
No,
you look at what he's achieved and his legacy at Exeter. It's much. I say it's much more than a lot of the international coaches you get. Yeah, he's left a massive mark on especially European rugby.
Yeah.
And who was the final one on there?
I think there was Warren Gatland on there at 16-1.
Yeah, there was Warren Gatland.
The thing is, sorry, as Welsh, I love Warren Gatland. I've got the little grog there up there. You can see there.
I think it's lovely.
You can't tell me with a straight face you'd say no to Warren Gatland as England coach, but I can tell you Warren Gatland would say no to England.
Yeah, and I don't see Warren Gatland making sense also for England because. I don't know, going from Eddie Jones to... I mean, for me, the main logic...
They're sort of the same on how they play mind games.
Yeah. But I do feel out of those three, Rassie Erasmus is definitely the most likely. But are they going to go for one of those three?
It'd be interesting to see.
I mean, I would have said Pat Lam could have been up for it if he'd won the Premiership with Bristol and hadn't just signed a deal till 2028.
Yeah, exactly. But anyway, there was still 2 years away.
Yeah, they won't decide for a long time.
No, exactly.
And I'm sure there'll be many coaches, especially for club teams, on the rise.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, probably Steve Borthwick you're looking at now, actually.
Actually, yeah. He's been in the England.
Yeah, he's been in the English coaching setup, but as the top man. But anyway, that's sort of it for the England news and sort of it for the talking points. So we're going to be on to predictions. Now, yes. I think scores are way too hard to predict.
A win and how much by. Who's going to win and how much by is what we're going to do, I think.
Yeah, I think that'd be best. So, Kieran, starting off Friday night, Northampton Saints against Worcester Warriors.
Sorry, Worcester, but I'm not going to back you to beat Saints. I'm going to go Saints are going to win, I think by 27.
Okay, I'm going to go Saints, but I'm going to go by 34.
Sorry, Worcester. Absolutely brutal.
Yeah, sorry. Next, sorry for the burp. Next up is Exeter against Irish at Sandy Park, and I'll go first on this one. I think it's hard to bet against Exeter, especially against Sandy Park.
Yeah.
And I'm going to go Exeter by 29.
See, I also back Exeter, but I don't know if they'll find it as easy.
Really? Okay, interesting.
I don't know. I just have a funny feeling Irish might give them a. I'll go Exeter by 17.
Okay. Then after that, it is Gloucester against Newcastle Falcons. So I'll ask you first on that.
It's a hard game for me to call.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be quite tight.
At King's home as well. Is that going to sway your?
I mean, I will go with Gloucester are going to lose it in the last 5 minutes.
Okay.
So I'm going to go Falcons win by. I think it's going to be tight, but it's close to the bonus. I'll go exactly 7. Falcons by 7.
You see, I reckon Gloucester are going to take it.
Oh.
I don't know why. Because Falcons have been playing quite well to start the season.
Yeah.
But I just have a feeling about Gloucester this weekend. So I'm going to go Gloucester. I'm going to go Gloucester by 11. Which is probably a lot bigger than... it's probably a lot, quite a bit of a wider margin. But anyway,
very big compared to what I expected you to.
Anyway, then next
Quins v Bath.
I'll go first. Ask you. Next one. As much as I want to be optimistic and say that Bath are going to win, I think that is very unlikely. I am going to say Quins by 16.
See, I had the 6, so I thought you were going to go 16.
I'm not going 60.
I'm sorry, Hugh, but after the performance against Sarries...
Not think we're going to bounce back?
I've not seen any signs of it.
Is this going to be our turning point?
I think massive win for Quins on the table. I think Quins by 45.
Quins by 45. Okay.
I'm sorry, Hugh.
Oh my God. That is depressing.
It's...
Okay, no, I can deal with this.
Attacking team, leaky Bath.
Yeah, all right, okay.
I mean, I can't see you dealing with Marcus Smith in any way, shape or form.
That's fair. Okay, then. Next up, probably the most interesting game of the weekend, I'll say. Tigers against Sale. Is it your turn to go first on this?
Yes, but I need a big... See, last season would make me back Sale, but this season will make me back Tigers.
All right. It's at Welford Road, if that does anything.
See, I still think Sale. I'm gonna back Sale. I think I want it to be a cracker. I'm gonna say 2 points.
2 points, all right. Because I'm gonna go Tigers by 4.
We're within 6 points of each other for probably the first time.
Yeah. Then finally on Sunday, it is Sarries against Wasps.
Another good game. I feel that's gonna be. It's your turn to go first?
It is my turn. It's hard to bet against Sarries.
It is.
It's hard. I'm going to go Sarries and I'm going to say by 13.
I feel it's going to be fairly tight at the start. Wasps are going to have a good go at it, but I think Sarries eventually are just going to, typical Sarries, roll over them a bit. I'm going to go Sarries by... Oh, this is a tough one.
Yeah.
12.
So it's by 12. All right, then. So that sort of rounds up predictions, sort of rounds up everything we wanted to talk about.
Exactly, yeah.
So I suppose that brings our first episode of the Rugby Hour
to the end.
To an end. So
the Rugby Hour in 14 minutes.
Yeah. So I suppose what's left to say is thank you very much for listening.
We will be looking to expand this to other platforms as well.
Exactly, and please do join us next week.
Follow us on Instagram. We'll be asking for all your suggestions, questions, predictions as well, everything like that. And there'll also be some lovely memes. Hugh put together a lovely one with Bath. It was a perfect circus performance, really, from them.
Yeah, it was. Go and check out our Instagram and look at it.
At the Rugby Hour.
At the Rugby Hour. And we also have a TikTok as well.
We do have a TikTok.
Also at the Rugby Hour as well, so go and check that out.
Everything's the Rugby Hour.
Yeah, so anyway, I've been Hugh.
And I've been Kieran.
And thank you very much for listening.
Thank you.
And hopefully you'll join us next week.
Thank you. Goodbye.